Week 1 of the NFL season is finally here, and your Houston Texans take on the New England Patriots. That's right, right off the bat, right off the gate, the Texans play the Patriots, a team they haven't been able to beat in almost a decade. And I know a lot of Texans fans are terrified. A lot of Texans fans are already counting this as a loss. But I'll tell you this. Romeo Crennel, Deshaun Watson, and the rest of the Texans defense ain't scared of the Patriots. So anyways, let's get into these matchups. Let's start off with the Patriots offense versus the Texans defense. We'll start off with the run game, I guess. The Patriots, they don't really have a bell cow running back. They have a bunch of running backs that all do different types of things. And I highly doubt Sony Michel plays in this game. He's still questionable. So I'm going to assume he doesn't play. So I think Jeremy Hill is going to be their actual running back, the guy that gets the carries in the run game. It could be James White, but I see James White as being more of that receiving back out of the backfield. So Jeremy Hill is probably going to be the guy. Regardless though of who the guy is, I completely see the Texans shutting down that run game. I do not think the Patriots will be able to run the ball on the Texans. Why? I mean, just look at it. The Patriots have an average to above average offensive line. The Texans' front seven is brutal. Just straight up brutal. Going back to last year, even without J.J. Watt, without Whitney Merciless, not many teams were able to run the ball on the Texans. Now you add in Watt, you add in Merciless, you add in another year of Reader inexperience, you add back Christian Covington. This Texans front seven is dominant. Even if they get past the defensive line, they won't get past Bernardrick McKinney. They won't get past Zach Cunningham, Dylan Cole. And not only that, Kareem Jackson can also come down from the secondary and tackle at the line of scrimmage. Not just Kareem, Tyrann Mathieu can also do the same, and so can Aaron Colvin. So I just do not expect the Patriots to be able to get a run game going. Now the pass game. I know a lot of people are completely terrified. Oh my God, Tom Brady's going to tear up the Texans corners and secondary. Well, no, that's not going to happen. Yes, the corners are questionable. Joseph, I have no idea if he will regress again or if he'll bounce back from last year. And Kevin, I have no idea if he will keep playing how he played last year, if he'll bounce back to 2015-2016 form. I have no idea. But the Patriots do not have the wide receivers that can completely 100% expose the Texans corners. I mean, they have Chris Hogan, Philip Dorsett, Cordero Patterson. I mean, seriously, they got no one that is dangerous. They traded away Brandon Cooks to the Rams. Danny Amendola left in free agency, and Julian Edelman is suspended. Their top three wide receivers from last year, they're gone. So they're pretty much down to their fourth, fifth, and sixth wide receiver. Yes, I do expect Tom Brady to, be Tom Brady and make some perfect throws to his terrible wide receivers. But none of these guys can completely take over the game. They're not those types of receivers. The wide receivers, I feel like the Texans, they won't be able to shut them down because, let's be honest, they're playing Tom Brady. But they'll be able to contain them to the point where these guys aren't going to take over the game. these guys aren't going to win the game. And then you got Gronk. I mean, I don't know who's going to be on Gronkowski, but regardless of who's on Gronkowski, he's going to be hard to stop. The best you can do on Gronkowski is just that hope to contain him. Just hope he doesn't take over the game. But even then, we have a lot of good cover people that could be able to cover him, such as Justin Reed, Dylan Cole, Zach Cunningham. I don't know who they'll use, but I'm pretty sure it'll be one of those guys, and I'm pretty sure all three of them are competent enough to limit Rob Gronkowski. Again, not 100% stop him, but they will limit him, at least. And then, of course, in the past, you have the Patriots always throwing to the running backs. And who will that running back be this time? Most likely, James White. I expect the Texans to 100% stop the Patriots' passes to the running backs. Because in the past, other than last year, the Texans didn't have two linebackers that could cover like Zach Cunningham, like Dylan Cole. So I completely expect the Texans to shut it down. Completely. Now, Tom Brady himself, of course. The Patriots' pass protection versus the Texans' pass rush. If you guys watched last year's game, the Patriots' offensive line is about the same. It would have been better if Isaiah Wynn didn't get hurt, but unfortunately, Isaiah Wynn is out for the season as the starting left tackle. So he's out for the season. And if you watched last year's game, early on, the Texans were getting all sorts of pressure on Tom Brady. They were just all over him. And if you go back even further to the 2016 game in the playoffs, the Texans literally made Brady throw a fit. It was mostly Clowney, but they made Brady throw a fit. Now, late in the game of the 2017 game, the Texans' pass rush disappeared. Why? Two reasons. They got tired, and second reason, Mike Vrabel is dumb and he cannot scheme for anything if his life depended on it. Mike Vrabel couldn't scheme. The Texans were getting pressure up front with Watt, with Merciless, with Clowney, based off pure talent itself. That means Vrabel wasn't scheming anything special. That means Clowney, Watt, and Merciless were just straight up beating the guy that was in front of them. Now you add in Romeo Cornell, who's actually smart, who actually knows how to throw out blitzes. Then all of a sudden, this turns into the 2016 playoffs all over again, where literally Clowney had Brady throwing a fit. Literally. If you go back and watch the highlights, I'm pretty sure you can see it. Brady was throwing a fit. Brady had one of his worst games ever in that game because of the pressure that the Texans were bringing out front. Now, in that game, Christian Covington was an average player at that point. Watt didn't play that game, and DJ Reader wasn't DJ Reader yet. So you add in those three guys, all of a sudden you bring in even more pressure. And not only that, to make things worse for the Patriots, something the Texans haven't had in a while, a situational pass rusher. Duke Ejiofor. The Texans found another pass rusher that is good. Now, Duke Ejiofor, he's not going to start. No. You know, in certain situations, you take out Clowney, you put in Ejiofor to give Clowney a break. You take out Merciless. You know, you take the guys out. Late in the fourth quarter, your guys are fresher, and Duke Ejiofor is really fresh. So the Texans are going to be able to constantly put pressure on Tom Brady. So this ties in to Tom Brady picking our defense apart. Tom Brady will not be able to pick the Texans defense apart because Tom Brady will not have time to do so, because the Texans' front seven is deadly. And then consider, Benardrick McKinney can also bring some pass rush. They can blitz Tyrann Mathieu off the edge. Romeo Crennel has never had a defense as talented as he does this season. The Texans' defense should make Tom Brady cry again. Now let's flip over on the Texans' offense versus the Patriots' defense. Let's start off with the Texans' run game. The Texans' run game, in terms of the running backs, I expect the Patriots to, do a pretty good job of them stopping it, because as you guys know, throughout the preseason, the Texans weren't really all that capable of running the ball. And I think this is going to be a reoccurring theme throughout the season, because the Texans' offensive linemen, besides Nick Martin, they're not really run blockers. They're just pass blockers that were brought in to protect Deshaun Watson. So I feel like the Texans' run game is definitely going to struggle, especially when you consider that the Patriots have, some competent run stoppers like Adrian Claiborne, Brown. They have, what's his name? They just traded for Danny Shelton. So they have some competent run stoppers up front. So I don't really expect the Texans running backs to get anything going. However, when you factor in Deshaun Watson, their guys up front, besides Trey Flowers, they're pretty slow. They can't really play sideline to sideline. So you throw in a little bit of read option, not too much, because you don't want to really make Watson run all that much. You throw in a little bit in there, you throw off the Patriots defensive front, and you'll do decent in the run game. If you want to incorporate Deshaun Watson into the run game, of course you could throw in all the end arounds and all that stuff that Bill O'Brien was doing last year with Deshaun Watson. But when it just comes to the running backs, I do expect for it to be difficult for the Texans to run, because again, offensive line, they aren't run blockers, and Patriots defensive line is pretty talented. Now in the pass game, I completely expect the Texans wide receivers to have a field day on the Patriots secondary. Yes, Stephon Gilmore's good. Yes, Jason McCourty had a good season last year. But can Stephon Gilmore cover DeAndre Hopkins? No. Can Jason McCourty cover Will Fuller? No. And in fact, if you thought Watson was impressive last year versus the Patriots, he didn't even have Will Fuller, man. He didn't have Will Fuller. So things can only get worse. Like, yes, the Patriots added Jason McCourty, who is going to help them out. But then we get Will Fuller, who the Patriots didn't play against last year. So I completely expect the Texans wide receivers to have a field day on this Patriots secondary. You add in Ellington, who the Patriots kind of struggled with last year. You add in Kiki Coutee, rookie wide receiver. We haven't really seen much of him, but again, the Patriots only really have two good corners. Anything after that is a liability in coverage. Their safeties are good, but I mean, I still expect Will Fuller to be able to kind of push them back and leave the underneath routes open for the DeAndre Hopkins, the slot receivers, the tight ends. Speaking of the tight ends, I am really iffy on our tight ends. So I don't really expect our tight ends to have a big day, just maybe like a few receptions here and there for like a few yards. Not really expecting them to go off. As far as the running backs in the receiving game, they don't really use them all that much unless, they plan on doing so this season. But from what we've seen in the past, like that, 7-game sample size we have with Deshaun Watson, Texans still don't really use the running backs in the receiving game all that much. They will use them some. So I do expect Lamar Miller, maybe Tyler Ervin to have a few receptions for a few yards. Again, they're not going to go crazy, but I do expect them to be contained, I guess you could say. As far as pressure, the Patriots, despite the Texans having a leaky offensive line, they won't be able to get pressure. All they have is Trey Flowers, and if Trey Flowers last year couldn't get pressure against Breno Giacomini, he's not going to be able to get pressure against Shantrell Henderson. Yes, they added Danny Shelton, and they have Brown up in the middle, but the strength of our offensive line is pass blocking in the middle. So I don't expect them to do anything. And of course, you got Adrian Claiborne. Adrian Claiborne is just a run stopper. He's not a pass rusher. If you think he's a pass rusher, look again. 6 of his sacks last year came against Chaz Green, the Cowboys' backup left tackle, who's currently unemployed at the moment. So Watson should have all day to throw. When Watson does get pressure up front, Watson can just escape the pocket and make a play himself, either by running it or throwing it. Now, the keys to the game. The Texans have to absolutely put the pressure on Brady. Keep on coming for him. Keep on coming him every single play. Next, the Texans defense has to stay rested. It has to stay rested. Meaning, keep some guys fresh up in the front. You have Dylan Cole to rotate. You have all these interior defensive linemen to rotate. Joel Heath, Angelo Blackson. You have Duke Ejiofor to rotate with Clowney and Merciless. Keep them fresh up front. Offense, go for long drives so the defense stays fresh for the late point in the game. And Bill O'Brien, keep your foot on the gas pedal. Do not let up. If you think you finally have the Patriots, don't ease up on them. Go for the kill. Stomp them. Because these guys have shown the ability to come back time and time again. So, don't quit, I guess you could say. Anyways, as for the score, I am taking the Texans 37-20. That's right, guys. The Texans, for the first time in a long time, will beat the New England Patriots. This is literally the first time that I pick the Texans to beat the Patriots in a long time. I don't think I ever have, like in these last 6-7 years, man, honestly. I think this is the year that the Texans finally get it done. Anyways, with that being said, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.